Hey everybody, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm trying to get everybody in here. Had some errors today. All right. I'm going to be promoting each one of you to panelist. So stand by. Almost there. All right. Now, can people speak? Can somebody try speaking so I can?
Can you hear me, Kevin?
All right. There's Jordan. Perfect.
Hello.
I'm not exactly sure what happened. Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there's Jack. Beautiful. Yeah. Excellent. All right, sorry about that. For some reason, all of our webinars for Superior Youth Council were deleted. And so when I went to go in today, it was all gone. We have a fun meeting today. I'm going to try to share my screen here in just a second, if I can get everything up and going. Really apologize for the delay. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Jordan, if you're there, please take it away. And thanks everybody for being here. And real quick, by the way, just as a matter of election festivity and fun, I think we should all give a big round of applause of congratulations to Trustee Mark Laces for gaining re-election.
Congratulations.
Congrats. Woo.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you all. Thank
Definitely
you. Very excited.
SYLC mojo.
Exactly.
With you.
I think it was you guys that really put me over the top. So I appreciate it. No, but seriously, for anybody who voted, thank you very much. And for all your parents who voted, thank you very much. You know, when you look at kind of the state of the country right now, where, you know, we still don't know who's going to be the president, it's nice to see the system actually work in Colorado. We actually have a really well-functioning mail-in ballot process. They process their ballots in advance of Election Day. So once they start tabulating the votes at 7 p.m., you pretty much know and there's not going to be big surprises. Whereas in other states, they can't even start counting until election day, and it just ends up being a big mess. So, it's just kind of interesting to see how all of this pans out. But here in Colorado, we've got a really good functioning just voting process, and it's an honor and a privilege to serve. I was really humbled to get elected in 2016, and I'm humbled again to get reelected. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work on behalf of everyone who lives in Superior. So thanks.
Very cool. Very cool. And by the way, just a fun fact as well, Trustee Laces was the leading vote getter for Superior of all candidates. All right, Mr. Jordan, why don't you lead our meeting?
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Kevin. So hi, everybody. Welcome to our November meeting. I'm going to call roll. While I'm doing that, feel free to look over the agenda. Once we're done with roll, we'll make sure we have no changes or additions we want to make to our discussion items for tonight. So is Joe Brostovitz here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Riley?
Here.
Kendrick?
Here.
Amanda?
Here.
Colin Duncan? I think he said he was having some problems logging in. Bella?
I'm here.
Michael Finnegan?
I'm here.
Colin Folsom?
I'm here.
All right, and I assume Nick's here as well.
He's on the way.
All right, cool. Levi? Oh, it looks like Levi is an attendee right now. I'm going to assume he's here for now. Jasmine? Benjamin? Matthew?
Here.
Michael?
Here.
Ella?
Here.
Catherine?
Here.
Tej?
Here.
Tyler?
Here.
Jacob? Or you're sorry, Jared?
Here.
Ruthie?
Here.
Jack?
Here.
Connor?
Here.
Rohan?
Here.
And Sanjin. And let's see, Mark and Kevin are both here. Awesome. All right. So hopefully you all had time to look over our agenda. Is there anything that we want to add or change around? All right, I'm going to take that as a no. So with that, we're going to move on to public comment. It doesn't look like we have anybody from the public to comment. Is that correct, Kevin?
That is correct. We had one person that was supposed to come, but they just sent their comments. One of our CAPS members to tell us a little bit about a possible art piece or mural for our 1500 Colton building. And I'll tell you all about that when we get to that discussion item.
All right, sounds good. So with that, we're going to move on to our first discussion item, which is a discussion regarding tobacco education and prevention. And we have a guest, Gretchen Smith. Would you like to introduce yourself and lead this discussion?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Gretchen Smith. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am from Boulder County Public Health in the Tobacco Education and Prevention Partnership. And I'm really excited to be here with you all. I think it's been a long time coming. I think we were originally planning on meeting in May, and then, you know, things happen. So I'm wondering if I'm able to share my screen for a little presentation.
I believe you should be able to.
Okay, let me try this out. All
right.
Let's see if I can figure out the slideshow. Okay. All right. So as I said, my name's Gretchen Smith. I'm here to chat with you all about tobacco use among youth in Boulder County and how you all can provide some community education around this issue. So as you probably know, Superior passed their ordinance last fall, which seems forever ago, given that COVID seems like it started forever ago, and it really has. But today I'll take you through some data on what tobacco use among youth looks like in Boulder County currently, and some strategies to address this issue. And then we'll talk about some options for you all for some kind of project to build some community awareness around this. So first, I wanted to go over a little bit of data for you all so we're kind of on the same page. So the following data is from the Healthy Kids Colorado survey, which is done every 2 years in schools across Colorado. Some of you may have taken this last year. And this data is from 2019, which is our most current data that we have. And it's looking at current tobacco use among high schoolers. So here you can see that electronic vaping devices are the most common product used among high school youth. And this, what we qualify as current use is whether a youth has used it within 30 days. So almost a third, actually closer to a quarter, have used electronic vaping products within the last 30 days. And then around 7% for cigarettes, almost 5% for other tobacco products. Other tobacco products would be things like cigars, smokeless tobacco, those kind of things. And just some context here, that the rate of vaping has declined a little bit from 33% in 2017, which is a good sign. We haven't been able to do analysis on whether it's statistically significant, but it is a little bit on the decline, which is a good sign. All right, and this one is looking at ever use. So looking at all students who have ever used a vaping product. So almost 50%, so almost half have ever used a vaping product compared to that 27% who has used in the past 30 days. And then I think it's important to just look at middle schoolers as well. They of course don't make up quite as much of the young people who are using these products, but around 15% are using these electronic vaping products, and close to 3% are using cigarettes. And this was, has ever used a product. And then the last, I believe the last data slide I have for you here is looking at the perception of harm for vaping. So it's really asking, I forget the specific wording for this question, but do you think that vaping, will harm your health, those kind of things. And so for cigarettes, it's pretty darn high at 91%. And for electronic vaping products, it's at 80%, which we are really excited about, because back a couple years ago, it was around 50% for vaping products. So I think there's been a lot of work done here, and in the community, including Superior passing their ordinance for the age to raise to 21 to really ensure that everyone understands that these products are harmful. So we see this as a really great sign that this went up 30% in the last 2 years. All right, and then I think it's really important to talk about talk about this next slide because we know that certain communities are really more impacted by tobacco use. So in Colorado, youth who feel unsafe at school, have a mental health concern, don't have a parent or a guardian to talk to, are LGBTQ+, live in a family dealing with economic precarity, or experience racism, are more likely to use tobacco or nicotine products. So there's a lot of different reasons for this, but a few are that some of these groups, including people of color, those in the LGBTQ+ community, have really been targeted by the tobacco and vaping industries. And also we know that maybe some communities have more struggles with stress and those kind of things because they face discrimination. And we know that not everyone turns to, you know, running or those really healthy coping mechanisms. It's really easy to fall into some of those unhealthy coping mechanisms, which I think we all do at some time. But to end on a good note here, oh, it didn't come up. But it's supposed to show that that youth who feel that they have a parent or guardian to talk to are much less likely to use tobacco products and substances in general. So just to, you know, keep that kind of strengths-based perspective, it's really important that we really foster these relationships with young people, and that young people really feel that they have someone that they can go to that's safe to talk about things. All right, so we're going to talk about a couple strategies here that's on the policy side. So similar to what Superior did, raising the minimum legal sales age to 21 years old, this is a really important strategy. And so we know that many young people are using vaping products and that many get those products through social sources. So the idea behind raising the sales age is to try to keep those products out of high schools. So with the age being 18 years old, maybe a senior at high school could easily buy these products and be distributing them. So now that the legal sales age for Superior, for other jurisdictions in Boulder County, as well as on the state and federal level now, that's a really great sign, and it makes it more difficult for those kind of social sources to be providing those for young people. The second one is banning flavored products. We know that young people are disproportionately attracted to flavored products. Data shows that around 43% of young people stated that flavors were the reason that they first tried a vaping product. So getting rid of those flavored products has been shown to reduce the use of these products by young people. Third, we have tobacco retail licensing. So this is, a lot of people don't know that tobacco retailers are not required to have a license like alcohol and marijuana retailers. And this really doesn't allow us to kind of know who's selling these products and to really have a comprehensive enforcement strategy. So we are working hard to get local jurisdictions to really consider this so that they can kind of, you know, have a list of all of those retailers, because they're licensed, they're paying a fee that actually helps with some of the administration and then the enforcement of that license as well. And then lastly, we have increasing price. So really what this does, it makes it less likely that some may buy tobacco and vaping products because they're more expensive than they want to pay for it. So this has been shown to especially benefit and affect the rates for the low income communities and among youth. So those are just a couple of the strategies that are evidence-based that we talk about when it comes to reducing especially youth use of tobacco products. So here's just kind of a list of what's been done in Boulder County. So you see Superior up here, increased the age to 21 years old. City of Boulder increased the age to 21 years old, and they banned flavored vaping products. They also put a tax on vaping products. And soon, very soon, they have tobacco retail licensing going into effect in 2021. City of Lafayette increased their sales age to 21 years old and expanded smoke-free protections. So I believe that they protected some parks, and they may have done some things for restaurant and bar patios to make those smoke-free as well. And then lastly, City of Louisville also increased the sales age. So these were all policies that passed in Boulder County last summer and fall. And it was really in response to some of the really high rates of vaping among youth. However, in response to some of these local level policies, the state and the federal government also took some action. So at the federal level, they did end up raising the sales age to 21 years old at the very, very end of 2019, I believe. And then they banned some flavored vaping products on the federal level in the beginning of 2021. Let's see. All right, and then lastly, at the state level, HB 201001, or Nicotine Product Regulation Bill, passed. This bill really put in tobacco retail licensing at the state level. This was supposed to go into effect July 1st, 2021. However, it's been postponed somewhat indefinitely right now due to COVID-19. So we don't really know what's going to be happening with this bill. So this kind of gets us into our discussion around what all y'all can do for your community here to kind of spread some awareness and those kind of things. So these are just a couple ideas that I kind of came up with, but I'm really wanting to, hear from you all as well, because I'm sure you have much better ideas than I have. But the first idea I had is a poster campaign. So this would include choosing from some existing posters, from marketing campaigns around youth prevention of vaping and tobacco products. And, in non-COVID times, I think distributing these and hanging them up in, schools, rec centers, wherever young people gathered, wherever you all are able to do that, sounds like a great idea. However, with COVID, things change. So if y'all are interested in something along those lines, we can brainstorm how we can, make that work during COVID. The second project that I came up with is maybe a little bit more of a commitment for you all. So it's a photo voice project. So this would include you and, maybe others, maybe friends, taking pictures of the impacts of vaping and captioning these so that they show kind of the story and they can express the youth voice on this issue. So whether it be, outside my apartment complex, I often see little jewel pods or those kind of things kind of littered around. So, it could be any pictures or any really ideas you have around that to just kind of give voice to this. And then I was trying to think about this the other day, since we are virtual and living in COVID times. So I was trying to think of some, more virtual projects as well. So I was thinking something along the lines of a video like PSA or something like that, that could be shared on social media, by all of you all. I don't know if you as a youth group have any kind of social media account or something like that, but something along those lines where you could, make a video or maybe just share some images or thoughts or something like that. So those are a couple of my ideas. And I really lastly wanted to get some of your thoughts on this kind of project as well. So just a couple ideas and questions I had for you all to kind of get you thinking about it is, how do you make decisions? And where are you and other young people getting your information about vaping and substance use? So where would it be helpful to actually see this information available for the community. So with that, that's kind of the end of what I have, and I would love to open it up for any kind of discussion that you all have for me or questions on the presentation.
Hi, I'm Michael. I use he, him, his pronouns. These are first of all, thank you for presenting to us. This is a pretty important issue, and these are some really good ideas. I was curious. You mentioned that one cause perhaps of substance abuse and vaping especially is like turning to it as an unhealthy coping mechanism. So I guess my question would be, do you think it would be worthwhile to look into a project that worked on educating individuals about healthy coping mechanisms, or how to avoid perhaps falling into these sort of traps? Or I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. I think something like that is a really great, like, strengths-based and really cool idea, because I think it's so important. You can say all day, like, you know, vaping is bad for you, substance use is bad for you, but if you're not giving, you know, alternatives, then, you know, you're not really given those alternatives, right? So I think something like that could be a super cool idea. Just kind of as an example, one of our youth groups at Boulder County Public Health did a project earlier on in COVID around what they were doing kind of to cope or to just you know, spend their time during COVID, during the summer, being virtual. It was when we were in the stay-at-home orders, those kind of things. So I think something like that could be super cool, and it's something that could be shared, you know, on social media and those kind of things too. So I think that's a really great idea, but open to hearing everyone else's. And, you know, I think y'all probably have much better ideas than I have. So hoping to hear more from you all.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I know you mentioned earlier about doing some kind of video or PSA video. And I think especially since a lot of things now are virtual and online, a video or online poster would be one of the most effective ways. So if it featured, healthy coping mechanisms or informed about the effects of vaping, and then sharing it across social media platforms. I know before COVID, some of the schools, or like I remember at least in middle school, they would have like talks, I guess, about vaping and nicotine products. So just like a video could be an online conversion of that.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I love the idea of, you know, maybe you all kind of talking about what maybe healthy coping mechanisms you all use when you are stressed, or, you know, when it's been a long day of school, or just looking at Zoom all day, because I know that I struggle with that in work. And so maybe it's, you know, you all sharing that, you know, I like to go on a walk outside or something like that. I like the idea of you all as youth kind of being that example and sharing, you know, some of your thoughts on that.
Something I guess I would add on is, at least from my personal experience, I don't know any numbers on it, but I feel like there's a large percentage of youth who vape or smoke recreationally, not so much just to cope, but, you know, as an activity that might make them feel as if they fit in to a social group. I think almost giving not necessarily personal accounts, but of, you know, videos of us of teenagers talking about, vaping and the negative health consequences, on that level of maybe a person says, well, I'm not using it to cope. I'm just doing it because I want to. But just bringing the idea to them that perhaps there are consequences to those choices that they haven't fully flushed out in their mind.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. And you're right. Not everyone turns to, things because they're stressed or anything like that. Sometimes it's just, this seems fun. This is what others are doing, those kind of things. So I think that's a really good point as well, is to kind of include, maybe it's some harms or health effects of vaping, as well as some, healthy activities or things like that you can do even when, we're in the times of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I'll add on is that I think for some people, there's kind of like a peer pressure to vape or use cigarettes and that sort of thing. So I think in order to prevent youth use, you also kind of have to address that aspect and trying to make it not as enticing for people.
Yep, that's definitely super true. That's what I've heard from a lot of young people. I'm wondering if you all have thoughts on kind of how to remedy that, because I think as someone who's, no longer a young person, I'm not grandma old, but I'm not your age, and I didn't grow up with vaping being a thing. So I'm wondering what all of your thoughts are on how we really address that, because I don't know the best way.
Well, I know one thing that has probably one of the biggest impacts is when you can hear like of a personal story, especially probably if it was from a member of the youth community, in terms of how nicotine or vaping products affected their lives, and if any peer pressure had to do with that. Because yeah, you can put forth a lot of laws or regulations in place to stop people from doing it, but when somebody your own age or someone who may live in your community is expressing concerns from their own experience, I think that can have one of the biggest impacts. I'm just not quite sure how we could I guess, get a hold of stories like those.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because I feel like a lot of people already know that like vaping's bad, because we have to like learn about it in health class and stuff. So I feel like everyone already knows. It's just like maybe it has to be more personal for them to actually take it seriously.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. And I think hearing from your community, from the young people in your community, can really, be the thing that makes a difference. So I really like that idea. I also share that, how do we kind of get a hold of these stories? How do we find people who are willing to share those with us? So that is, a great idea. And I think something we would have to really think about is, do we have access to folks who want to share their stories around that? So just something for us to think about if we decide to go down that route.
I would say there are a fair number of people who don't believe the facts. So I guess since some of the studies on vaping, because it's so new, are disputed, I don't know the best way to, provide a more kind of like what other people are saying, a more personal account or reason that vaping is proven to be damaging, because there are people who will say, well, you know, it hasn't been proven to be bad. It's better than smoking, so at least I'm not doing that. And I guess that mindset is pretty commonplace, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a sticking point for a lot of people, because technically, you know, vaping products do have less harmful chemicals than cigarettes. So technically they're better. But, you know, that doesn't mean they're good for you. And I also think it's difficult because vaping products are pretty new. So we don't have those really long-term studies that we have with cigarettes, you know, since they've been around forever. So we really aren't able to see, you know, are people getting lung cancer from vaping products and those kind of things like we know with cigarettes. So that's a good point too. You know, that gets me thinking a little bit about some of the peer pressure and sharing personal stories. And, you know, I think hearing from the community is really important. And I'm wondering if we kind of come at it from a positive angle, and it's more of, you know, people sharing why maybe they don't vape. So whether it be, you know, I run track, so I don't want to deal with that, or those kind of things. I'm wondering what thoughts are on that.
I know I've seen a couple of those ads already, just on like Snapchat and other social media platforms.
Okay. What are your thoughts on those ads? Are they like, do they catch your interest, or is it kind of like just another like vaping, like don't do it ad?
Yeah, that prior is definitely for me.
Yeah. Okay.
This is kind of related to earlier, but I know last year at Eldorado, they did the E360 program, had a group who did a presentation on vaping, and they presented it to the middle level. And the statistics were good, but it didn't really stick. So I think having personal stories would stick better and promote not vaping.
The only, just to add on to that, the only real stories I would say that I've heard in terms of like vaping's side effects have been like if they've caught on fire or exploded and then it's harmed them in that way, not so much like in terms of its side effects, because there's not enough research that's been done yet. But part of it could be too how some people, like heavy smokers, have switched to e-cigarettes. But yeah, because there's not really a lot of stories, maybe trying to take a positive viewpoint on it might get more results.
Well, to add on to that, I feel like there may not be as much stuff about physical side effects, like effects to your health maybe, but I'm guessing that it may be kind of hard to find people. But I'm guessing there's people who like it's affected their social life, or it's affected their mental health or something like that.
Yeah, Rohan, I would agree with that statement, definitely. I mean, I think there are also some health side effects that are starting to be apparent, just as like the Food and Drug Administration starts to look into the contents of e-cigarettes. But yeah, I think it's definitely a good point that there are many different ways that cigarettes can be harmful, or vaping products for that matter.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very true.
Going off what Riley said, there's also like the popcorn lungs that people are getting. So I definitely do believe there's side effects that are already showing from vaping. So if we did want to like show the side effects, we could.
Yeah, we definitely have some, some of that popcorn lung, vaping related lung illness that was happening kind of last summer. Sorry about that. So, I mean, we can definitely, mention those kind of things, but I think there really are effects that, to the social life, to mental health, to, school participation and those kind of things as well that could be examined. So let me just kind of summarize a little bit of what I have here, and then if others want to kind of pitch in other ideas too. So we have this idea of either doing some kind of video or maybe some social media posts or something like that, something that can be shared along social media and online platforms. An idea around healthy coping mechanisms, maybe something on the effects of vaping, sharing personal accounts, whether it be, personal accounts of how someone copes with stress or just healthy activities in general, instead of using vaping as a recreational activity, or how vaping has affected folks in the community on that more personal level. So I think these are all really great ideas. Do people have more thoughts on this, or do we kind of want to choose some kind of direction? Really, this is all of your all's project, and I'm just here to kind of support. So it's really about what you all think you can, get done, and I'll help in whatever ways I can, but really want to make it your own. So would love to, hear what y'all are thinking, and yeah, what do we think?
I feel like teenagers and young adults are more into watching like short videos rather than like reading posters. So maybe some kind of video kind of direction we should go into.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
and with that, I think everyone, like what we've been saying before, I think like personal stories and that would be good.
Okay, and so just logistically, if we were going to do short videos of personal stories, do we have folks who know how to edit those things or that kind of thing? That is definitely not in my wheelhouse. So just, I don't know all of your all skills. I'm sure that you all are great, but just wondering kind of what that looks like and what the capacity and resources look like for you all around that.
Hey, Gretchen. So we've got some other items on our agenda, so I think we'd like to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes. So what I was going to suggest is if there are a couple people on the council that would like to keep working with Gretchen after this, we can put you guys in contact, and you guys can go from there. So is there anyone that would be interested in doing that?
I don't know. I just think the video thing is really hard because it just adds way more complexity to the whole thing. Like a digital poster, I feel like I would do that for sure. But just getting a video to get someone to like make the video and share their story, which is always personal, and then edit the video too. It's just a lot more time.
Oh, sorry, you can
Question
go.
to add on to that. Would we be able to show faces since we're trying so hard to protect identity?
I am not
I think
sure.
the answer, sure, I think the answer for that is for something like this, an individual kind of push and you guys all signed off and you got your parents to sign off, I think you'd probably be okay.
Okay.
It looks like Amanda, Jack, anybody else?
Yeah, I'll take part on this. And just another thing to add on. Yeah, as Gretchen made a good point, exactly like what kind of skills would we have in terms of creating a video if we were to create one? Maybe would there be a possibility to partner with somebody in order to make that, or would a digital poster instead be better, because then that's something we could all work on together?
Yeah, either way. And I mean, we have all the town's resources as well that we can help you guys with. So if we've got some good ideas, we have the data and the content, then we can round up some stuff in any media form that you'd like.
I could also take part in this.
Was that Ella?
Yeah.
Cool. So I've got Amanda, Jack, Catherine, and Ella. Is that it?
I could help too.
Thanks, Ruthie. Sweet. Well, Gretchen, we'll connect these folks with you, and maybe we can come up with a couple of good little things to share with our community from our council.
Yeah, sounds great. I know I probably took way more of your time than you anticipated, so I just wanted to thank you all, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Great, thank you, Gretchen. So I think with that, we're going to move on to our next discussion item, which is regarding the youth space at 1500 Colton. I think Kevin said he had just some text for us to talk about. So for those of, while Kevin's pulling that up, for those of you that are unaware, last year the town acquired the old Land Rover dealership near Walgreens. And so the town is going to be remodeling that, and they would like some input from the youth council on what they would like to see, or what we would like to see in the building.
Yes. I believe Leslie Clark is also here with us. She's the director of Parks and Rec. And Leslie, as I go through these slides, if you want to jump in, please do. Let me just get started here. The first few slides are just some pictures of what's happening. Actually, no, it's a map of the building. So if you see this building, how many of you all you have been into the Land Rover? You guys all pretty much have, because we've been working there doing some different things. But if you look at the right side of the picture, that's the lobby area where you would come in, or we used to come in. At the top right is kind of that awning area where cars can pull in and you can come in those doors. And then on the opposite side of that, bottom right, is going to be the brand new entrance to the building. You'll be coming in, there's a little reception area, little lounge area, and then it starts flowing towards the back. You kind of go up some risers, and then you keep moving through tables, chairs. On the right, there's a little cafe right there in the middle, little area, some stadium seating. Then you come around the stadium seating to the right. There's some more seating around there. And you take another little right, and that top left area is where the youth room is going to be. There's a big entrance there at the front, and then it kind of backs up. The very top, you see a little door there. That door will be closed to the public, but there's a huge garage door. That's the little dotted line that will be glass and beautiful, and you can open it all up. So it's a pretty large room that will be available to students. So here's some of the pictures around it. Here's the entrance of it, as obviously this is all still in construction, kind of rough, but it will still have a little bit of that industrial vibe whenever you get into it. So you kind of come into it this way. That's the entrance looking back out, and what you see there in the metal will be like little cubby holes where you can sit. And then back into the room a little more, looking out into the main room. That's going to be the stadium seating going the other way. And then this is the room. So if you were to turn, let me go back to this one. You're looking at that. If you turn to the right, if you just turn your body to the right, you're going to get this view. And so you'll have that view there. And you see a huge wall there. And there's also going to be a wall on the left side. That's this wall right now. It's got a window, but I think that window may be going out. That's going to be a full wall there. And then, and so that's what we have. And so the idea for tonight was to start having a discussion about what the feel and the look of this room should be. Again, this is, kind of a big idea. This is, some ideas that we're going to be sending to the architect and the people building this thing, and maybe even our CAPS committee to see what we can do there. Some furniture, some gaming kind of stuff. If you look at this first picture, you can see that there's some lounge area. There may be room for a ping pong table or something else like that. So we want to talk about that. We want to take some good notes around that. And then there is possibility for, and when you think about decor feel, about maybe even doing a mural on one of these walls, whether that's something that you all would come together or invite other youth to come and do, or whether that's coordinating and collaborating with an artist to come in and do something cool there. Obviously, again, these are all big ideas. We're just trying to get, what are your thoughts? What are your feels? What do you think would make this room magnetic towards students, that they would want to be there, they'd want to hang out there, and that kind of stuff. So with that said, I'd love to just start having a little bit of a popcorn discussion around that. And then let me ask, just to make sure, Leslie, do you have anything else that you think is important for everybody to know about this?
One of the other things we were looking for was a name for the room. And we obviously have some time to think about what you might want to call the room, what would make it kind of something that would resonate with you and your friends and people of your age, as well as the look and feel. And I would say probably over the next 2 months, we're going to be looking at, what are we going to name it? Are we going to put a sign on the outside? Do we want to, could we do something really cool with the name? Could it be a part of the art that's associated with it? And then, as Kevin mentioned, just the kind of look and feel and functionality of that room. Do you want tables and chairs? Do you want more lounging seating? Do you want a mix of that? Do we want to, some active stuff in there? It's a room, I would say, probably close to the size of the town hall boardroom, although it's shaped a little longer and a little more narrow. But it's about that size, so there are some things we could do there. And it's not like it's set in stone. This room could be reinvented every 3, 4, 5 years. So, but rather than a bunch of us sit in our office and decide these things, we thought it would make a whole lot more sense to involve this group in some of that decision making. So appreciate your time and any input you want to give.
All right, with that said, who wants to start the festivities um, talking about this room. And I can go back to any of those images. You can see some of the possible names. Maybe that is a good beginning spot. And then we work backwards based on a theme of a name.
Well, I personally, I really like pool and ping pong. So I think those are cool ideas because that's not really something you can go anywhere to do. There aren't really places that have stuff like that I know of. So I think that would be cool.
Personally, I really like to get like out of the house to like study. So if we just had some like comfy chairs and maybe a table to just have a space where kids can meet up to do that.
Real quick before somebody gets going. Bella, are you on the call tonight?
Yeah.
Are you taking good notes for us on this?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Just making sure.
I completely agree with Bella with like the study spot. Just like 2 days ago, I went to go do some homework with somebody, and especially with COVID, there was no places open. So I just think it'd be really cool if there's like an easy place that you don't have to like, I don't know, be forced to get food to be able to study there. Just my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also right next to that Starbucks. So, I mean, it doesn't force anyone to get food or drink, but I mean, there's only so much seating at that Starbucks. So it's kind of like a cool place just for like teenagers to go. And yes, I think studying is a really good point that Jack and Bella made.
I just wanted to add on. So I'm getting a kind of gist from the layout and just what people have said so far, that this would be a space that had a mixture of things going on. Study spaces were definitely emphasized, and then just having a recreational or game area to have fun. So I was thinking that if we have these separate spaces, we should make sure that they are somewhat separated from one another, because I just know personally from studying that it's important to have a nice quiet place just to sit down and get to work. And another thing was, I thought maybe a good idea for a name was just to call this place maybe like the Hub or Superior Hub, as it would make it sound more like a place where the community can come together for a variety of different things.
Sounds good. Talk to me a little bit about look and feel. What does it need to look like? What would be cool?
Well, if you couldn't do like a art mural thing, I think that's what it's called. You can do some kind of like whiteboard, or like you can get this like paint that people can like draw on.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea of having whiteboards or some place where we can write on walls or easels or something, just to have, just, you know, to foster collaboration in that space.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that at least the study room should be a generally bright room, because if people do go there to study or do their homework, they don't want to like feel like study. I'm pretty sure studies show that studying in lighter environments help you learn more and help you remember.
Yeah, I think I would add on to what Jared said. I think it should be warm light though. Like, I know a lot of places have those really bright LED pipe like lights, but I think those can just be really, they give a vibe that's a lot more conformist and like kind of enclosing versus lamps or just a warmer type of light than the really harsh LED.
Yeah, and just to add on to the lights, yeah, harsh, bright white LED lights can be a little obnoxious, especially in a space where you're trying to sit down and just focus. And I think another thing to add on is I like the idea of sort of a whiteboard wall. I also think then we should have a mural on a separate wall for inspiration.
I don't know if anyone has said this yet, but I think we should have like an outlet, like a lot of outlets, or just like one of those, I don't really know what it's called, but like you attach it to an outlet and there's like a lot of outlets attached to that, because I feel like outlets are needed when you're studying and stuff, especially because most people are using their computers.
Good call.
Yes, I agree with that completely.
You could also put in like a desks or tables that I don't know if they're hard to find, but you can like get them where they have outlets like attached to them.
One thing I think is just for the general design of the room, if you're gonna have like ping pong and pool, but also like study space, I think some separation between those two would probably be good because it could be kind of like distracting to study if there's people playing ping pong right next to you.
I think some standing like desks would be nice for the study area.
Going off what Michael said, I know some like classrooms have this, like some desks that are like raised up a bunch and like bar seating almost. Then other tables are on the ground because it really breaks up the room and keeps every conversation private as much as it can be.
That's really neat. So different heights of tables, you know. Did you say floor all the way to the floor table?
No, like just like normal size tables.
Oh, normal size table. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I kind of like the floor seating idea though.
Mm-hmm.
Something we might want to consider is that people might like gather up in the room to play ping pong, and then that might be a distraction to the people who are trying to study.
Yeah, I wonder a creative way of finding some separation in that room or a wall that you can close from time to time.
I would say in terms of like a game room versus study room, that they should just be two completely different rooms from each other, because you know, if you have people like talking and laughing and then like the sound of like different games going on and that kind of thing, you should probably distance that as far away from each other as possible.
Quick question for you all. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Because there is so much seating area in the building as a whole, should this room be broken up like that, or should just this room be more of a game room type, you know, social room, knowing that there's other places to study? I'm just talking out loud. What are your thoughts around that?
I feel like because there is like a bunch of other room to study in the building, that we could just have that be like a room for people just to like hang out instead of study.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, then you could have like more space for people just to hang out, and instead of having to like divide up the room into two.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Talk to me about art. Talk to me about, what kind of stuff on the walls, what kind of colors would make it cool for you all. Remember, it is industrial kind of looking, so it's going to already have a little bit of a vibe.
I feel like we could either do like bright colors or more like toned down colors, like cooler colors.
Yeah, I like neutral colors / cooled down better.
Yeah, I agree.
So no neon?
Well, I just had a thought, but in spaces where we need to focus more, like just based off of looking on the layout, like study rooms or meeting rooms, I would say that the walls should definitely be more neutral, but in spaces like the game room or where people are hanging out, you can emphasize a little more color to liven up the space a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. Now, just a clarification for everybody, we are just talking about the student room. All the other decor and everything else around the building will be not up to us. We're just really talking about that top left room as a whole, the decor of that room.
Oh, okay. I guess I misinterpreted that wrong.
No problem.
So will the students still have access to other parts of the building?
Absolutely not. I'm just kidding. Yes, yes. The community center will be open to all. So that's what I was saying is, that you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And so for this particular room, what the function of that room, the look of that room, that's kind of what we're trying to get from you all tonight.
Maybe for colors in like the gaming area, we could do brighter, warmer toned colors because it's kind of like gaming and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin,
If it's all okay, I think if it's all going to be in one room, it shouldn't be like that different. I just think that like it should overall, it can be kind of different on both sides, but like there should be some overlap. I feel like it'd look weird if just one side was super bright and one side wasn't at all.
Yeah.
Kevin, are we designing the activity space or the game zone? Just for like clarification.
It's the game. It's what's called the game zone would be the room. But as you can tell, there's a loungy area there. There's a big community table there, a ping pong table there. But those are just suggestions. I mean, there's a lot of room there to work with. But it is what is called the game zone room in this rendering. But it is a youth room. It's supposed to be for students.
I think for like the game like room thing, it could be like nice to have like a couple TVs. So like in the fall, if like kids are there on a Saturday, then like they can be like watching college football while playing ping pong with their friends.
Cool.
I just had a question. So, since this is all gonna be in one room, is there gonna be enough room in a sense to divide it up into two rooms? Because we kind of have this concept of a game room, but then a study room right next to each other. So, will that work? Like, will the two areas be divided up, or is the idea more so that this is just one big space?
yeah, it's probably more leaning towards one big space. But I mean, again, if you thought creatively around portable walls or movable walls, you could probably say, hey, today we have more people here. We're going to divide it up. We got a 50 mix of study people and game people. And I mean, there could be some possibilities. But again, the way you kind of, the way you kind of see it, there's two big entrances. There's a garage door entrance and then the inside entrance. So it's limited in the amount of ways that you could cut it up or divide it up.
And Kevin, I might just want to offer that we could also program the use of that room by day and by time. So I know one of the interests was to definitely make this facility available on Wednesday mornings when school has that late start. And, you know, if the recommendation was, okay, on Wednesday mornings, it should be more study space or, you know, quietly socializing with your friends versus maybe on a, you know, Friday afternoon or Saturday, it's less study space and more of, you know, social and game, you know, type of activities. We could also host events here, you know, if you guys have specific activities that you want to do, say, on a quarterly basis or, you know, a couple times a year, the space can be reconfigured for different activities on different days or different special occasions.
I don't know if this is just me, but I like just an open room where I don't need to worry about reservations or anything, or like it being full or occupied one day. That's just me being lazy almost, but I don't want to go check to see if it's open. If that makes sense.
I agree with that.
And I think the idea is that when the building's open, this room will be open.
Let's take a couple more comments on this one. Anything around what kind of furniture you'd like to have, what kind of art you'd like to see, what kind of feel you'd like to have, any other little amenities kind of things that you think are important.
No matter if the space is used for gaming or for studying, or if it's a multi-purpose room, there should definitely be comfortable seating. Like maybe some sofas or just some chairs and desks. But it should be something that people want to sit down and relax in.
This is kind of a small thing, but I really like having like plants in the room and just like being surrounded by that.
Yeah, I definitely think that would kind of bring a more peaceful mood to it. So I think that could be good too.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. Cool. Let's move to names. What are some possible names? If you can see some of here's some starter names: the spot, the alcove, the nook, the alley, the garage, the vestibule. Again, this is just for that area. This is not naming the whole building. What other names, or which ones of these do you guys like, and what other names might be really cool to have as kind of the identity for this spot?
I would say not the alley. I think that can kind of give not great vibes, I guess, kind of more lurky. Yeah, so I would just say not that one.
Cool.
I would also say maybe not the garage, because that kind of makes me think of something like not how it's gonna be. It brings a different vibe. Just my opinion.
I think another possible name could be like the lounge.
Yeah, I like that idea. Or the hub, the lounge or the hub.
I kind of like the spot.
I do too. I think the spot's super cool.
I think
That's
either
what I did
the,
like in the hub. Cool, keep going. Sorry.
I think either the spot or the hub.
I'm just curious, but should we do kind of like a vote thing or just hear out everybody to see what they think on a name?
Yeah, I'd love to get as many possibilities first. Really give people a chance to be creative, and yeah, if there's if you guys want to have a little bit of a vote, so we can give back some information to our leaders, that would be cool too. Thanks, Catherine. Other big ideas, other cool creative names. Michael, you wrote in the chat that you like one syllable names, punchy and right to the point. Like, can you give us some examples? Anybody else? Michael, you there? I see the chat. He says he's not very creative. Anybody else? Any other good names? I see some more people saying the spot, the hub.
I also think that the spot is a good name.
The only thing with the spot is I know there's a climbing gym in Boulder named the spot. So if we do like a Google Maps of this place, it'd be really confusing. There's the spots.
I
Thank you
think
for
if
bringing
you Google mapped it, it would come up as the 1500 Colton Road, like the name of the building that's gonna be there, not one of the rooms in it.
Yeah, okay. I was just clarifying.
Cool. Jordan, if you want to lead us in a little bit, I like Catherine's idea. If we want to, kind of come up with what our recommendation is, or a couple of recommendations.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just trying to think about what the best way to do this is. It sounds like is anyone not on board with the idea of the spot? Because I think if we can just all agree on that one, then I think that it sounds like that's the one that's getting the most support right now in the chat, at least. Okay, I think the spot it is. I guess we could put the hub as an alternative if for whatever reason we can't use that name or something. Awesome. Anyone have any final closing thoughts before we move on? All right, so now we're going to move on to our final discussion item of the night, which is our work plan. So last time, I think we made a pretty solid list of all of the things we would like to accomplish in the next year. I think Kevin is pulling that up right now. So the plan for tonight was just to review it, make sure we still think we are capable of getting all of those things done, and then planning for all of the events that are coming up in the next couple of months.
I'm working on pulling that up now. I think a couple of things that are kind of top of mind for me that are pretty immediate for us to kind of work on is obviously this Tobacco 21 space, and also this newsletter that we were talking about. We have some folks that are ready to maybe get that newsletter going. The Snow Busters, just a second, I'm still looking here. Snowbusters is going really well as far as volunteers, and so right now there are no homes that need our help. Leaf Busters, we have no takers on that so far, so we are in the clear for that one. And for whatever reason, I cannot find this work plan. What other things can you guys think of as I'm looking for this?
If I remember correctly, I think we had a mask/food drive in our Q4 2020.
That is correct. So yes, I think the main thing for this item is what are the things that we need to get going on and start working on. And that may be that we get our leaders together, our council officers, and just start, driving through some of these work plans and getting some subcommittees going to get them done. I apologize, I can't find this work plan for us. Jordan, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if we could, just like I was looking at it later, and just trying to plan out what we want to do in the next couple of months. If I remember correctly, we kept our mask and food drive on, so I think it would be good if we were able to form a subcommittee tonight, just because it's already November, so I think we should probably start moving on that one soon. So would anybody be willing to lead that subcommittee?
Wait, what did you just ask? Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, sure. This is for people that want to, for someone that wants to lead our subcommittee for a mask and food donation drive. I guess if you just want to be a part of the subcommittee, feel free to chime in now as well too.
I would like to be a part of it. And another thing is, I think maybe making it more of a mask drive would be helpful, because I know there's already a bunch of food drives going on, what with the wildfires and holiday season in December.
I think food, though, could be more universal. I mean, masks, yes, they're necessary, but I guess it's easier to makeshift a mask than it is to makeshift food on it. Like, food is consumable. You have to constantly be replenishing your supply to, I guess it's a consumable, whereas masks are more of a non-consumable. So I would say it's important to keep food on there.
I feel like food, we could definitely find someone who has a need. I mean, we could with masks too, but also if we were just doing like the reusable route, then I feel like a lot of people have already had access to that.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking a similar thing. I think it'd be pretty easy for us to find places to donate food to, but I'm not exactly sure where we would be able to donate masks besides maybe hospitals. I'm also not sure how many masks we would be able to collect. I think people would be more open to a food drive, but I'm not sure what the community reception would be on a mask drive.
Yeah, I think we would get a better outcome with the food drive because masks are also expensive. And I think we could get a lot more food out of it.
I think we should just keep it as a food drive.
Okay, anyone against keeping it or making it solely a food drive and not worrying about masks?
Jordan, and Council, one possibility to think about is that I believe the Girl Scouts are doing a food drive at some point over the holidays. I can find out the exact dates. I just was going back and forth with a Girl Scout leader about this food drive, but there's no details yet. But there could be some good partnership opportunities with something like that or other food drives that are around.
Yeah, I think if we were able to find some sort of partner, that would definitely take a lot of strain off of us, because I know that would probably involve a lot of planning, working on advertising and that kind of thing. So I think if we could find someone to partner with, that would be the ideal. So right now I have Kendrick, Catherine, and Amanda. Would anybody else like to be a part of it?
I could work on with it too.
Who was that? This last?
Ella.
Oh, okay. Cool. Jordan, I'll get you in touch with the Girl Scout leader. Maybe we can get some more information going there.
All right, sounds good. Anybody have any other thoughts about our work plan, specifically the things that we have upcoming in the next couple of months? All right, awesome. I think with that, that is all of our discussion items for tonight. So our next meeting is currently scheduled for December 2nd, again at 6:30, and that's still going to be on Zoom, correct, Kevin?
That is correct.
All right.
Just so everybody knows, Boulder County just moved back to level 3, and so that's going to restrict. We're going backwards a little bit, so make sure you all take a chance to look at Boulder County Health and what the new restrictions are for businesses, restaurants. And I don't know how that's going to impact the schools yet. That just happened today. It goes into effect on Friday. But yes, next time on Zoom.
All right, sounds good. Anyone have anything else to say before we sign off for the night? Awesome. All right, thank you, everybody. We'll see you all next month.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Kevin, I have a question.
Sure.
Would it be helpful if I did like a questionnaire for what teens want in the teen space on like our social media, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be a good way to get more feedback.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks for doing that. Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.